Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this moment, the only moment that truly exists. In the quiet space between your thoughts, you will find the power to transform your life. Today, let us journey through 10 powerful truths that, when remembered daily, will awaken a deeper sense of peace, purpose, and clarity within you. Gently return to these truths. Allow them not to be mere affirmations, but doorways, opening you to the sacred depth of your own being. Each day, from the moment we awaken until we drift into sleep once more, we are surrounded by countless impressions. Thoughts, emotions, sensations, and external stimuli swirl around us like an invisible river. Most people move through this stream unconsciously, unaware that what they focus on, what they repeat within their minds, quietly and powerfully shapes their inner world. It is not merely events that determine the quality of our lives. It is the lens through which we perceive these events. And this lens is crafted through daily reminders. The quiet conversations we have with ourselves, often without even noticing. When you wake in the morning, a thought arises, perhaps of gratitude or perhaps of anxiety. This first thought carries energy. If left unattended, it becomes the tone of your day. And if repeated each morning, it becomes the tone of your life. It is for this reason that daily reminders, conscious, purposeful affirmations of deeper truths, are not mere mental exercises. They are acts of profound creation. Through them, you are shaping the soil in which your consciousness roots itself. Awareness is not something that happens by accident. It grows when nourished. Just as a gardener tends to the earth to bring forth beauty and life, so too must we tend to our minds. What you remind yourself of daily is the food you offer to your awareness. If you remind yourself, even subtly, that life is a burden, that the world is against you, or that you are lacking, then your inner world will reflect that frequency. You will begin to see only burdens, only obstacles, only insufficiency. And because perception filters reality, your external experience will seem to confirm your inner narrative. But if you choose, with presence and intention, to remind yourself of deeper, timeless truths, that life is unfolding in perfect rhythm, that you are connected to a greater whole, that peace is available within you now, then your awareness begins to shift. A new clarity emerges, not because the world outside has changed, but because your inner lens has been cleaned, realigned with what is real rather than with mental illusions. Daily reminders act as signposts to your higher consciousness. They bring you back to yourself when the mind, left unchecked, would wander into fear, complaint, and discontent. These reminders are not meant to be rigid commandments or heavy obligations. They are gentle invitations to return to the living presence that is always available beneath the noise of thought. There is immense creative power in repetition. The mind is conditioned through what it hears repeatedly. Much of this conditioning happens unconsciously in childhood and later through societal messages. Without realizing it, many people are daily repeating reminders that cause suffering. I am not enough. I must achieve more to be worthy. Life is a constant struggle. Others cannot be trusted. Such reminders sink deep into the mind's soil, becoming beliefs and then reality. But what happens when you consciously intervene in this process? What happens when you choose reminders of truth rather than illusion? Transformation. Slowly, almost imperceptibly at first, your inner state begins to change. Peace arises where there was anxiety. Gratitude replaces resentment. Compassion dissolves judgment, not through force or struggle, but through the quiet, steady return to remembering what is real. A daily reminder might be as simple as pausing each morning to say inwardly, "Today, I walk in awareness." It might be taking a few breaths during the day and recalling, "This moment is complete. I need add nothing to it." Or it might be gently observing your mind in the evening and whispering, "I release all that does not serve the truth of who I am." Such reminders, consistently practiced, begin to shape not only your thoughts but your entire way of being. The beauty of this practice is that it does not demand dramatic outward changes. It does not require that you abandon your responsibilities or retreat to a monastery. It asks only for attention. a quiet vigilance. You carry these reminders within you, like seeds in your pocket, planting them wherever you go, nurturing them through your willingness to remember. Over time, you will notice a profound shift. The dramas that once captivated, you will lose their grip. The noise that once seemed overwhelming will fade into the background. In its place, a spaciousness will grow. A luminous stillness that is not dependent on circumstances. This stillness is your true nature, long hidden beneath layers of mental noise and habitual forgetting. Daily reminders are ultimately an act of love. They are a way of caring for your own consciousness, of choosing not to abandon yourself to the unconscious patterns of fear and separation. They are acts of remembering what you already are but have forgotten. Presence, peace, life itself. Each day offers a new opportunity. Each sunrise is a silent invitation to begin again, to choose the reminders that align you with truth rather than illusion. No effort is wasted. Even if you forget 1,000 times, the 1,001st time you remember brings you closer to your essential nature. Do not underestimate the subtle power of this practice. Though it seems gentle, it is revolutionary. It does not fight the old, it quietly transcends it. It does not battle against ignorance. It simply turns the light of awareness upon it, and in that light, ignorance dissolves. Thus, what you remind yourself of daily is not trivial. It is the foundation upon which your inner and outer worlds are built. Choose reminders that nourish, that awaken, that heal. Choose reminders that reflect the eternal truths rather than the fleeting illusions of the mind. In doing so, you will not only transform your own life, you will contribute to the awakening of the greater whole, for your inner state ripples outward into the world in ways you cannot yet see. Every moment, you are either remembering your true nature or forgetting it. Daily reminders are the gentle hands that guide you home. There is a natural tendency of the mind to seek complexity. It believes that greater knowledge, intricate explanations, and sophisticated systems are the pathways to truth and mastery. But reality, in its deepest and most transformative sense, is profoundly simple. True power does not arise from adding layers upon layers of concepts. It reveals itself when the unnecessary is stripped away. Simplicity is not the absence of depth. It is the very essence of it. Look at nature. A tree does not strive to be complex. It simply grows toward the light. A river does not try to impress with its path. It finds the most direct way to flow. The stars, the mountains, the oceans, all are expressions of pure, effortless simplicity, and yet within them lies a power beyond human comprehension. There is no striving, no need to prove, just being, fully and completely. The same is true for the inner dimension of life. When we begin the journey inward, we often think that transformation must be difficult, that enlightenment must require arduous practices and intellectual achievements. The mind, conditioned to seek and to struggle, projects its own restless nature onto the search for truth. But in reality, the profound breakthroughs occur not through complexity, but through the realization of something beautifully simple, that what you seek is already here, already present. Simplicity in spiritual understanding is not about reducing everything to shallow platitudes. It is not a denial of depth. Rather, it is the recognition that truth is always immediate, always accessible. You do not need to construct elaborate theories about life. You need only to notice what is already present beneath the noise of thought. A single conscious breath, fully felt, can reveal more about reality than 1,000 philosophical discussions. True power arises when you no longer seek it outside yourself. When you stop chasing complexity for its own sake, when you become willing to simply be present with what is, an immense strength awakens within you. It is not the strength of domination or control, it is the strength of alignment, of resting in the flow of life itself. In simplicity, you are no longer separate from the source of all things. You move as life moves, effortlessly, harmoniously. Consider the greatest teachings that have endured through time. They are marked not by their complexity, but by their simplicity. Be still and know. Love thy neighbour. The kingdom of heaven is within you. These truths are not complicated because life itself in its essence is not complicated. It is only the mind that complicates, weaving stories of resistance, fear, ambition, and separation. To embrace simplicity is to trust life. It is to let go of the belief that you must constantly figure everything out, that salvation lies in accumulating more information or achieving more goals. It is the willingness to dwell in the now, to meet each moment without the need to overlay it with interpretation or judgment. Simplicity is not a mental concept, it is a state of being. In simplicity there is clarity. When the clutter of excessive thinking falls away, what remains is a pristine awareness, a natural intelligence that knows without needing to explain. Decisions arise effortlessly from this clarity. Actions flow naturally, without strain or over-analysis. There is no longer a gap between you and life. There is only the unfolding of presence. This does not mean that life becomes monotonous or dull. On the contrary, when you are rooted in simplicity, the ordinary becomes extraordinary. A single flower, a shared smile, the feeling of the breeze against your skin. These become gateways into the mystery and wonder of existence. Life reveals itself not through grand events, but through the depth of the present moment, which is always simple and yet infinitely rich. To live simply is not about renouncing all possessions or retreating from society. It is about the inner stance you take toward life. It is about being free from the compulsion to constantly complicate, interpret, and control. It is about trusting the inherent intelligence of life to carry you, to guide you, to express itself through you. When you align with simplicity, fear begins to dissolve. Fear thrives on complexity, on the endless what-ifs and imagined scenarios that the mind creates. But when you return to simplicity, you realize that in this moment, there is nothing to fear. There is only now, and now is manageable, now is alive, now is enough. True power lies not in the assertion of the ego, but in the surrender to the simplicity of being. It lies in the quiet, knowing that you are already complete, already whole, and that life, in its essence, supports you. Power is not something you accumulate. It is something you recognize within yourself when you cease to resist the simple fact of your own existence. This recognition is not dramatic. It does not necessarily come with fireworks or profound visions. Often it comes quietly, like a soft dawn after a long night. It comes when you sit still long enough to hear the silence beneath the noise, when you pay attention deeply enough to notice the aliveness pulsing through every cell of your body, when you drop the endless pursuit of becoming and simply allow yourself to be. The paradox is that in this seeming nothingness, everything is found. In letting go of the need to grasp, you receive. In ceasing to search, you discover. In relinquishing complexity, you touch the heart of life itself. Simplicity is not a goal to be achieved. It is a return to what has always been. It is the realization that you were never truly separate, that life has always been carrying you, that peace has always been available in the background of every experience. When you live from this place, your actions are imbued with authenticity, your words carry weight without force, and your very presence becomes a blessing to the world around you. Thus, true power lies not in the complicated constructions of the mind, but in the pure, vibrant simplicity of being. It lies in the quiet, living presence that is always here, waiting for you to notice, to trust, and to embody. At the heart of true transformation lies a simple yet profound practice, the observation of oneself, not with judgment, not with resistance, but with open and compassionate awareness. Without self-observation, change remains superficial, built upon the shifting sands of external conditions. With self-observation, however, you begin to move beneath the surface of appearances into the vast field of consciousness where genuine growth and freedom unfold. To observe yourself means to watch the inner movements of your mind, your emotions, and your reactions as they arise. It means stepping back just enough to see without being entangled. Most people live as if they are their thoughts, their emotions, their conditioned responses. They are swept along by mental narratives and emotional storms, unaware that they are identified with fleeting phenomena rather than rooted in the unchanging presence beneath it all. The simple act of noticing changes everything. When anger arises, and you observe it without immediately justifying it or acting it out. A space opens. In that space, you are no longer the anger. You are the awareness of anger. When fear arises, and you observe it without running from it or getting lost in it, again, a space is created. In that space, fear loses its power to dominate you. Self-observation breaks the spell of unconsciousness. It allows you to meet every experience from a place of clarity rather than reactivity. Self-observation is not self-criticism. It is the gentle, curious watching of the inner world, like a loving parent watching a child. It does not rush to correct or to condemn. It simply notices, allowing what is to be seen without the immediate compulsion to change it. And paradoxically, in the very act of seeing clearly, transformation begins to happen naturally. Awareness itself is healing. To practice self-observation, you must cultivate stillness within. Stillness does not mean the absence of thought or feeling. It means the presence of a deeper, unshakable attention. Like the surface of a lake that settles and reflects the sky when undisturbed, your mind, when not constantly agitated by unconscious identification, reflects the truth of the moment with perfect clarity. The challenge is that the ego resists self-observation. It thrives on distraction, on drama, on constant movement. It does not wish to be seen, for seeing dissolves it. Every time you bring conscious attention to your thoughts and emotions, you weaken the ego's grip. You take a step back into the vastness of who you really are, a space of presence far greater than any thought or feeling could contain. Self-observation must be gentle. Harsh scrutiny tightens the mind and heart. It creates resistance and division. True observation is like a quiet light, shining steadily without judgment. It welcomes everything, the moments of fear, the flashes of jealousy, the waves of sadness, the bursts of joy. It embraces all with equal interest, seeing them not as defining who you are, but simply as passing phenomena, like weather patterns in the vast sky of awareness. With consistent practice, you will begin to notice patterns. Certain thoughts repeat themselves like well-worn grooves. Certain emotions arise in predictable situations. You will start to see the conditioned mind at work, old fears from childhood, inherited beliefs from society, habitual reactions that once seemed inevitable. In seeing them clearly, you reclaim your freedom. You realize that you are not bound to these patterns. You are the witness in which they appear and disappear. This witnessing is not detached indifference. It is alive, vibrant, and full of compassion. It sees the old wounds behind the anger, the tender vulnerability behind the defensiveness, the longing behind the sadness. It does not seek to fix or eradicate these experiences, but to meet them fully, allowing them to unfold and release in their own time. In this way, self-observation becomes an act of profound kindness toward yourself. The beauty of self-observation is that it is always available. It does not require special conditions or elaborate rituals. In any moment, in any situation, you can turn your attention inward and notice, what am I feeling right now? What thoughts are passing through my mind? What is the energy moving within me? No moment is too ordinary for this practice. In fact, the ordinary moments are often the richest ground for awakening. When you walk, observe the sensations of your body moving through space. When you speak, notice the tone of your voice, the intention behind your words. When you eat, be aware of the taste, the texture, the simple act of nourishment. When emotions arise, excitement, irritation, anxiety, observe without pushing them away or clinging to them. Let them rise and fall like waves, knowing that you are the ocean, not the wave. Over time, a deeper shift occurs. Observation moves from being something you do occasionally to something that becomes a natural background to all your experiences. You begin to live from the awareness itself, rather than from the fluctuating contents of your mind. This does not mean you become passive or withdrawn from life. On the contrary, you become more alive, more responsive, more authentically engaged. Actions arise not from unconscious habit, but from the living intelligence of presence. Through self-observation, you come to know yourself not as a bundle of thoughts, emotions, and experiences, but as the open, aware space in which all these arise and dissolve, You recognize your essential nature as untouched by the ever-changing drama of the mind. In this recognition lies profound freedom, peace, and joy. There is no end to this practice because consciousness is infinite. The more you observe, the more subtle your awareness becomes. You begin to notice the subtlest movements of thought, the faintest stirrings of emotion, and even the quiet spaces between thoughts where pure being shines through. Each layer of observation deepens your intimacy with life, revealing beauty and depth where before there seemed only chaos or routine. Self-observation is the key because it unlocks the door to the present moment, the only place where life truly happens. It lifts you out of the trance of past and future, of imagined fears and remembered hurts, into the vibrant aliveness of now. In this aliveness, you are no longer trapped by your history or limited by your fears. You are free to live, to love, to be. Through the simple, steady practice of watching yourself with awareness and compassion, you align with the deepest truth of your existence. You become a living embodiment of presence itself, peaceful, powerful, and profoundly alive. In a world saturated with noise, the noise of voices, of opinions, of technology, of endless stimulation, there is something precious that often goes unnoticed, the stillness within. This stillness is not the absence of sound, nor is it a dull emptiness. It is a vibrant presence, a living silence that underlies all activity. It is the silent field in which every sound, every thought, every event takes place, and it is through connection to this inner stillness that we find our true power, our true clarity, and our true peace, Outer noise is relentless. From the moment we awaken, we are invited into a world of movement and distraction. Notifications buzz, conversations swirl, obligations pull at our attention. The mind, conditioned to seek stimulation, is easily swept into this current. It jumps from one thought to another, one desire to another, one fear to another. In this restless movement, we lose touch with ourselves. We forget the quiet spaciousness that is our natural state. Yet no matter how loud the world becomes, stillness remains. It is not something that needs to be created. It is already here, always here, waiting to be noticed. It exists beneath the surface noise, like the depth of the ocean beneath the churning of the waves. It is not disturbed by outer events. It is not diminished by the chaos of circumstances. It simply is, silently holding everything in its vast embrace. To access this inner stillness requires only one thing: attention. It requires a willingness to turn inward, to pause, to listen beyond the surface. It is not an effortful doing. It is a relaxing into being. And when you close your eyes, take a conscious breath and feel the aliveness within your body. You are touching stillness. When you become aware of the silent gap between two thoughts, you are entering stillness. When you sit without an agenda, simply allowing this moment to be as it is, you are residing in stillness. Stillness is deeply healing because it reconnects you to the present moment. Outer noise constantly pulls your mind into past and future, but stillness draws you back into now, where life is actually unfolding. In the now, problems shrink and clarity arises. You see that much of what troubled you was not the situation itself, but the mental noise layered upon it. In stillness, the essential simplicity of life reveals itself. There is an intelligence within stillness that far surpasses the thinking mind. When you rest in stillness, insights arise naturally, like ripples on a calm pond. You see solutions without needing to figure them out. You feel guided without needing elaborate plans. Decisions emerge from a deeper knowing rather than from anxious calculation. Stillness aligns you with the greater intelligence of life itself. Outer noise often conditions us to believe that constant action is necessary, that busyness equals worthiness. But true effectiveness arises from stillness. When you act from a place of inner quiet, your actions are infused with clarity and purpose. They are not reactive but responsive. You move not from fear or compulsion, but from presence. In this way, stillness enhances not only your inner life, but also your outer life. It brings a quality of grace and precision to everything you do. Practicing inner stillness does not mean withdrawing from life. It does not require that you abandon responsibilities or avoid engagement with the world. On the contrary, it empowers you to engage more fully, more wisely, and more compassionately. You become a center of peace in the midst of chaos, a steady flame in the winds of change. Others may still be caught in the noise, but your presence offers them a silent reminder that another way of being is possible. You can practice inner stillness in any moment. It might be while sitting quietly at the end of the day, allowing the body to settle and the mind to soften. It might be while walking in nature, sensing the stillness of the trees, the stillness of the earth beneath your feet. It might even be in the midst of a busy day, pausing for a few seconds to feel your breath, to reconnect with the silent presence within. These small moments of stillness accumulate. They strengthen your connection to your true self. There may be times when the outer noise becomes particularly intense, moments of conflict, of crisis, of uncertainty. In such times, the tendency of the mind is to become even more agitated, to seek solutions frantically. But these are precisely the times when stillness is most needed. In the eye of the storm, stillness offers shelter. It reminds you that you are not the storm. You are the space in which the storm arises and subsides. Inner stillness also transforms the way you relate to others. When you listen to someone from stillness, you hear not just their words, but the truth beneath their words. You are not merely waiting for your turn to speak or reacting from your own inner noise. You are fully present, and in that presence, true connection becomes possible. Your stillness invites others into their own stillness, often without a word being spoken. Living from inner stillness does not mean that emotions and thoughts disappear. They still arise, but they no longer dominate. You watch them come and go, like clouds passing through the vast sky of awareness. You are no longer lost in them. You are the awareness in which they appear. This shifts your entire experience of life. No longer tossed and turned by every passing wave, you rest in the depth of your own being. Ultimately, inner stillness is a return to your true nature. Beneath the layers of conditioning, beneath the identities and stories the mind constructs, you are already whole, already free. Stillness is not something you need to acquire. It is something you need to remember. It is the silent core of your being, always present, always available. In a noisy world, cultivating inner stillness is a revolutionary act. It is an act of reclaiming your attention, your peace, and your true self. It is an act of trusting life enough to stop struggling against. In stillness, you find that you are supported, guided, and deeply connected to all that is. You realize that you are not separate from life, but an expression of its timeless, silent wisdom. Thus, choose inner stillness over outer noise. Choose to pause, to listen, to be. In that simple choice, again and again, you awaken to the extraordinary depth and beauty of your own existence. There is a strength greater than any form of external power. It is not the strength of domination, accumulation, or striving. It is the quiet, unshakable strength of presence. Presence is not something you achieve or possess. It is the natural state of your being when you are no longer lost in the past or the future. When you are no longer entangled in the endless commentary of the mind. Presence is the experience of being fully here, fully now, fully alive. In presence, you are no longer fragmented. You are whole. There is no inner conflict, no struggle to become something else, no resistance to what is. You meet life as it unfolds, moment by moment, without needing it to be different. This acceptance does not mean passivity. It means an active engagement with reality as it truly is. From this engagement arises a profound power, the power to respond rather than react, to create rather than to control, to live rather than to merely survive. Most of the time, the mind is elsewhere. It is rehearsing old stories, projecting imagined futures, reliving past hurts. In this state of distraction, you are not truly alive. You are caught in the shadows of life rather than immersed in the living reality of it. Presence calls you back to the vividness of now. It reminds you that life does not happen in memories or fantasies. It happens here, in this breath, in this step, in this very moment. Presence connects you to the source of life within yourself. When you are present, you feel the aliveness of your body, the subtle energy that animates every cell. You become aware of the simple miracle of being conscious, of experiencing, of existing. This awareness is inherently joyful, not because of anything you achieve, but because presence itself is joyful. It is the joy of being free from the burdens of time and identity, free to simply be. In presence, problems shrink. They may still exist on the surface of life, but they no longer dominate your inner state. You recognize that most problems are created or magnified by the mind's resistance to what is. When you are present, resistance drops away. You see challenges more clearly and respond to them more effectively. You no longer add layers of fear, anger, or frustration to the situation. You meet it with calmness, with intelligence, with grounded strength. Presence also deepens your connection with others. When you are fully present with another person, they feel it. They feel seen, heard, and valued. Presence is the greatest gift you can offer. It says without words, I am here with you. I am not distracted. I am not elsewhere. I am here. In such moments, true communication happens, not just through words, but through the silent resonance of being. Relationships are transformed not by fixing others, but by bringing the light of your presence into the interaction. Living in presence reveals the sacredness of ordinary life. The taste of food, the feeling of water on your skin, the sound of the wind through the trees, all become rich, vivid, and deeply satisfying. You realize that life does not need to be dramatic or extraordinary to be deeply fulfilling. The depth is already here, hidden in plain sight, waiting for you to notice. Presence also reveals your inner resilience. When challenges arise, you meet them from a place of stability rather than fear. Even in the midst of uncertainty, there is a part of you that remains untouched, unmoved. This inner stability does not come from knowing all the answers. It comes from trusting the ground of being itself. It is the quiet confidence that no matter what arises, you can meet it, because you are rooted in something deeper than the changing circumstances of life. To cultivate presence, it is not necessary to withdraw from the world. It is not about sitting silently in meditation for hours, although such practices can be helpful. Presence can be practiced anywhere, at any time. It is a shift of attention from the mind's chatter to the direct experience of now's chatter to the direct experience of now for crowd. It is feeling your feet on the ground as you walk, noticing the breath as it flows in and out, sensing the stillness beneath the movement. Every moment offers an invitation to return to presence. When you notice that you are lost in thought, simply bring your attention back, not with judgment, but with kindness. Each return strengthens your connection to the now. Over time, presence becomes not just something you visit occasionally, but the very foundation of how you live. Presence dissolves fear. Fear lives in the future, in imagined scenarios of loss, failure, or pain. When you are present, the future loses its grip. You realize that in this moment, right now, there is often very little to fear. Even when challenges are real, the fear about them diminishes in the clarity of presence. You meet what is actually happening, not what might happen. In this way, presence liberates you from the tyranny of fear. Presence is also the gateway to intuition. When the noise of the mind quiets, you can hear the subtle guidance of your inner knowing. You feel the pull toward what is right, what is true, not because you have analyzed it endlessly, but because it resonates at a deeper level. Intuition arises naturally from presence because you are attuned to the flow of life rather than trapped in mental concepts. Ultimately, presence reveals the truth of who you are. Beyond the stories, beyond the roles, beyond the conditioned identity, you are the spacious awareness in which all experiences arise. You are not the thinker of thoughts or the feeler of emotions. You are the witnessing presence in which thinking and feeling occur. This realization brings immense freedom. It frees you from being defined by successes or failures, by praise or blame, by gain or loss. You remain rooted in the unchanging essence of your being. Presence is your greatest strength because it connects you to life itself. It empowers you to act with wisdom, to love with depth, to live with authenticity. It is the silent power that does not need to dominate because it is already complete. In presence, you find the peace you have been seeking, the fulfillment that no external achievement can provide. Thus, in every moment, remind yourself, presence is your home, your refuge, your greatest strength. Return to it often. Abide in it deeply. Let it infuse your life with clarity, compassion, and quiet power. for in presence you are truly alive. Ladies and gentlemen, as we come to the close of this journey together, let us take a moment to breathe, to feel the depth of what has been shared, and to rest for a while in the silent awareness that is always here. The truths we have explored are not complex theories to be stored away in the mind. They are simple, living reminders, seeds to be nurtured in the soil of daily life. Remember the profound power of awareness over mind shatter. Recall the gift of accepting impermanence with open hands. Let your identity be rooted not in titles or roles, but in the quiet, unchanging essence within. Choose inner stillness over the relentless outer noise, and know that presence is not only your refuge, but your greatest strength. Each day offers you the sacred opportunity to remember, to return, to step out of unconscious patterns, and to awaken once more to the aliveness of now. No matter how many times you forget, life is patient. Each breath, each moment, each experience, pleasant or painful, invites you back to what is real and enduring. You are not here merely to accumulate, to prove, or to survive. You are here to be fully awake, to embody the silent intelligence that moves all of life. When you live from this place of remembrance, everything changes. Challenges become gateways. Ordinary moments shine with extraordinary beauty. Love flows more freely. Wisdom arises naturally. And peace, that elusive treasure so many seek in the world, reveals itself as the ground beneath your every step. So let these powerful reminders not just be ideas, but companions on your journey. Let them infuse your actions, your relationships, your dreams. Trust in the quiet strength that lies within you. It has been there all along, waiting patiently for you to notice. The real transformation does not happen through struggle or striving. It happens through stillness, through presence, through the simple yet profound act of remembering who you truly are. Thank you.